Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back, 3G's Garage. Greg here. Thought I'd take the time to bring you guys up to speed on a little project that we're working on here. Actually, two of them. But if you watched our other video, you may recognize this sled. We brought home a few weeks ago. We brought home a little 1979 Enticer 300. And we did a Wilt run on it. We'll link that video in the description below for you guys. Check that out if you haven't watched that. That is this sled. Just happened to have the appropriate 1979 special twin ET300 hood up in the rafters here. So we put that on. It's on there just for looks right now, but even though we didn't need to build another sled, I just kind of fell in love with this thing, and I decided to put a little bit of elbow grease into it, and I'm just building it into a little lake toy. And with every one of these that we do, I feel like we make a few little improvements here or there, build on things that we've done in the past. And then try to make them a little bit better. And I honestly feel like so far, the way this is going to be the best little lake crosser Enticer that we built so far. So basically what I've done to this point is I picked the track. So I studded her up. I think there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 or 60, so it's not crazy, but there's enough studs in there hopefully to get some traction. See, with this, like, you won't truly know where you're at until you get it out on the lake and run it and see if you've got too much front grip or too much rear grip. So I'm only running some, I think there were 6-inch carbides on the front of this. I haven't put those on yet, but so I'm kind of hoping that I'll be kind of in that happy medium where I've got a little bit of loose in the rear end and a little bit of push in the front end, not too much bite on either side, and then that way I can really wheel the thing. Otherwise, a couple little special things that I've thrown in on this thing is hood off to the side there. So I had to put a top end in the one side of this engine. So we bought, in some of our other videos, you may or may not have seen it. I'm not sure how much we showed it, but I bought a early 90s Yamaha Ovation. I think it was a 92, and somebody had cooked the top end on the clutch side because there was a big mouse nest in it. I took the time to rebuild that side of the engine and obviously clean all that stuff out. And we took some footage of that, and we'll cut to that now. You guys can check that out. Oh, hey you guys. Old man here. Just wanted to jump in, make a comment for you guys. If you are liking this kind of content, you like old snowmobiles, you like old Yamaha snowmobiles, you like dirt bikes, racing, all the above, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. That will help us greatly. You'll see more of our content. We'll be able to, get more of that stuff to you, make more videos, and you'll see more of this fun stuff. So like, subscribe, please. So what I'm doing here is I'm gonna try to combine this engine and this engine, because this engine we tagged was from an 85 ET340. It's got good compression on the top end, but it had water down the cylinders, or water that had ran in, and basically it's locked up. We got it freed up, but then the bearings are crunchy and they would just lock up again. So I'm just gonna try to do a quick and dirty on this, because I have one really good compression cylinder over here. I've got a couple, one that I can use from this engine and the piston, drop it on here, and basically I'm building a lake cross sled out of an Enticer 300. So we're going to put the 340 engine in there, we're going to stud up the track and whatever. So that kind of leads me into like more on the engine build here. So when we build these for the racing, you know, we're not like professional racers or anything like that, but basically, like anytime you're building anything to go fast or try to make more power or whatever, you want to lose as much weight as you possibly can, and then any kind of weight you can reduce out of like the rotating assembly is huge as well. So the Ovation here had electric start on it, so that's going to go. The starter, you know, it's kind of a heavy piece for what it is, and then the Magneto here has this built-in big old flywheel on it. That's gonna go. I'm gonna see if I can use the Magneto off of this engine, and that won't have that because this was not an electric start engine. And then the oil pump driver was on the crankshaft here. It's not much, but you know, it is rotating weight, so we're gonna get rid of that. So yeah, I'm gonna dig into it a little bit further here, and we'll film it for you, and you know, we'll let you see what we're doing. So stay tuned. So this thing got so hot that it left a lot of aluminum deposits on the cylinder here and kind of scored up the wall. I don't know if you can see that or not, but literally, I mean, there's a hole burned right in the side of the piston. So she is well done, fully cooked.
This thing is cooked.
This even has aluminum deposited on it, the rod.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's aluminum on this.
Yeah, this engine really
She got really hot.
blew up.
She got her really hot.
Big end looks fine. Her little end.
Got a light hone.
Yeah, that definitely made it look a lot better.
So these engines only have, there's just 4 studs. It holds the cylinder down and the cylinder head. So the specs sheet says 18 foot-pounds.
How many newton meters on that?
I don't know how many newtons. 18 foot-pounds.
Hey.
Okay, so for the Ovation engine, I don't know if there's any truth to this, and you Yamaha gurus out there that are watching, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So a stock Enticer 300, I believe, was rated at 28 horsepower, I believe, from the factory. Enticer 340 was rated at 32 or 34. I'm not sure. I believe it's 32 horsepower for a stock ET340. Yamaha rated the Ovations at 34. It was 2 horsepower more than an ET340, but it's the same exact engine. The only differences there is it's got a different exhaust, and it's got this funky carburetor on it. So I'm going to try to use the Ovation engine. I'm going to try to use the carburetor. It's like a 2-barrel setup. So I'm thinking that that's what accounts for that extra 2 horsepower. So, you know, and say what you will, 2 horsepower, it's still 2 horsepower. So, you know, hopefully we'll get a little more zip out of her that way than just a regular old guy. So, so we've got that for an engine. That should be, we've never used that Ovation setup, so it should be just a little bit peppier than a regular 340 motor. As far as the chain case and the gears go, I have ordered a 21 tooth bottom gear. I don't have that yet. It's probably not going to be here until like Christmas time or whatever. And then we're going to run a 14er on top. So we're 1 tooth different on the bottom and 1 tooth different on top, both in the direction of top speed. So the gist of that is I'm going to try to clutch this thing to hammer off the line and get out of the turns quickly, and then I'm going to try to put the bigger, taller gearing in there to give me the legs on the straightaways. Just the thought. So, and then also what I've done so far is rebuilt the secondary clutch. There's not a lot you can do with this setup because it's all contained in the side. There's no jack shaft. Also, the spring, there's no springs you can interchange with. I just ordered a new old stock one from Yamaha, and we go with that. But I do drill an extra hole, not sure where that is. I do drill an extra hole in the secondary to give us some adjustability. So there's the stock hole. I go back about 90, so it gives me a little tighter wrap on the spring. So what that does, it should help the sled back shift a little bit quicker. Like when you get on the brakes and slow down real fast, the sheaves of the secondary clutch should come together a little bit quicker. It's not much, but it's a little something. So the last thing that I did that makes this Enticer different from any other one that we've ever built is I used some, I believe this was a factory option on the Exciter. These came on Exciters, the ski spreader setup. And I thought it was going to be a direct swap in because the spindles were the same width, but it turned out it wasn't. So what I ended up having to do is I had to bore out this hole so that the bolt would go through from the factory setup, and then I actually had to beef up the I don't know, whatever you call this, the shackle a little bit. I boxed it in with plate on the bottom, and then I kind of rolled some metal around the front to kind of box this part of it in as well, just to give it some more strength, because the factory one was double plated. I believe I've got those right over here. I'll grab them and show you. Yeah. So the factory ones had a reinforcement there. It was double plated, whereas the ones on the ET were not designed for this. And I know you're probably asking, well, why didn't you just use these? Well, I would have loved to have been able to use these, but the splines are different. The Exciters use this coarse spline, and it's covered up, but the Enticers use a much finer spline on their skis. So that project took an entire day, and I'm really, really hoping that the spindles here don't collapse or something when I put them under some strain, but we'll find out, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. So now Keegan's got a project of his he wants to share with you guys, so that's where I'm at on this, and when I get farther along with it, I will definitely give you guys an update on that, you know, when I get this thing together and get her firing.
All right, guys, this is probably a project that some of you have been wondering where it's been at. So that, what would that have been? Last spring, I picked up a 74 Yamaha GPX, and on the same trip to get that GPX, I picked up a 77 Yamaha Exciter 440. And that's what you're looking at right now is the Exciter 440. So we did some thinking, some talking. That GPX chassis is just a little beat. And we really should take you out there and show you, but there's multiple fractures and broken welds in the frame. You know, why don't we go look, because that's pretty much the main reason why I decided not to use this sled. But yeah, it's, among other things, it's pretty gnarly. So first off, you can see right here, we've got a pretty good fracture away from the frame. And then also right here, it's completely torn, which I guess I didn't really see until I got this thing completely stripped down. And then we have broken welds right there, and then another one right there. So, I mean, it's not really that big a deal. That kind of stuff can be fixed, but yeah, I'll save the chassis, but we'll go talk in here again. So luckily I had this 77 Exciter chassis because they're about 90% identical. I think, you know, the only thing that's different is the Exciters get this little beauty line on the tub, and where you put your feet is different. It doesn't have stirrups. But other than that, they're basically the same sled. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my GPX motor in there, which is being built right now. I just got my pistons in. I'm going to do one over on those guys. I got really lucky and found a full kit for that. But yeah, it's been kind of slow rolling on this one right now. It's just I've never had one down this far before, and it's just like a little overwhelming, but piece by piece here. We also did paint the skis. Got a fresh coat of paint on those, and I put some snow studs, 10-inch single runner carbides on there, so lots of grip up front. And then it's got unstudded track and just a factory Exciter skid under there. So the other reason that we didn't use the GPX chassis was because we didn't want to have to deal with figuring out how to mount it to the GPX, mount this skid under the GPX. And we had this laying around, so this was just the easier call. You know, it technically isn't a GPX anymore, but I think it's as close as we can get in like the easiest way possible, stress-free. So I'll keep that chassis around in case I want to build another one, but this is kind of where I'm at with my big project for this winter. But I think that's about it. Going to use another new style seat on it. I actually found a not broken gas tank for this thing, and so yeah, it should be pretty sweet when it all comes together. I'm, you know, getting closer every day. So I do have some footage of me tearing down the engine, so I'll probably put that in somewhere in this video. Torn all the way down now. Doesn't look too bad. Just looks like it hasn't been touched in a while. So we'll begin the building and modifying process from here. A couple odd things, like there was a bolt broken off in the stator, also in the mag housing, but not too bad. Good core to build off of. Getting it sandblasted.
Got to do the cylinders yet. Gonna vapor blast everything as well. But this is all pretty gross. So I'm gonna get these done. Get them vapor blasted.
And I'll also link the video where I picked up this sled and the GPX in the description for you guys. But other than that, I think that pretty much wraps up this little shop update here. We got a lot going on right now, lots of wrenches being turned and lots of sleds being built. So I think we'll leave it off here. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. Snow is going to start falling here pretty soon, so stay tuned for more action. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.